Hello, folks. This is Yvette. I'm going to be talking about how infections can trigger autoimmune diseases. Okay, so in the past, I have spoken about the relationship between bacteria in your intestinal lining and your immune system. Sometimes they can be overgrowth of harmful bacteria, yeast, or parasites in the gut. And I've spoken about this before. Hey, Thea, thank you for joining in. And these can cause subclinical infections. And this means that they don't produce the typical symptoms of infections such as fever, fatigue, muscle aches, localized redness, pain, and inflammation. Instead, these infections are under the radar, causing chronic irritation and inflammation to the immune system. So there are viruses other than infections. There are viruses and other infections, excuse me. Hi, Tia. Hi, Thomas. Hi, Mark. Thank you for joining in. That do not come from your gut, but which they can live in your body and contribute to autoimmune conditions. So over the years, there have been tons and tons of studies trying to prove that particular microbes, meaning bacteria, viruses, and parasites, that can cause autoimmune diseases. And research on animals and results of epidemiological studies have shown a clear association between some viruses and bacteria and autoimmune diseases. So an association does not prove cause, but it does tell us that the infection is probably one of the triggering events to that autoimmune condition. And there are many theories about how infection can cause, trigger, or be involved. Hey, Jeannie. Hey, Jeannie. I think we're cousins. Yep, we are cousins. How are you? So what was I saying? So there are many theories about how infection can cause, trigger, and be involved in autoimmune diseases. But the first is that the immune system makes a mistake. It then creates antibodies against the microbe, and these microbes also attack your tissues. And the tissues being attacked determines which autoimmune disease you have. So for example, this happens in your thyroid. If this happens in your thyroid, this particular thing that I just explained, then you get Hashimoto's or Graves' disease. This is also called molecular mimicry, and I've spoken about this before on some of my other videos about lupus and autoimmune diseases and diseases that deal with the gut and leaky gut and stuff like that. If you've followed me, you've heard me say this before. So both gluten and chronic dysbiosis in the gut are believed to cause autoimmune diseases in this way. And the antibodies made against gluten protein against microbes in your gut are also reacting against your tissue. So another possibility for infection as a trigger for autoimmune diseases is that the microbes infect the cells directly, so living inside them and causing direct cell and tissue damage. So there are two things. There are two things that can happen, okay? And as a result of both of them, the results are not good. The first is that your immune system reacts to the virus living inside the tissue, and your body gets damaged in the crossfire, okay? This is called bystander effect. Hey Neil, hey Carrie, thank you for joining in. This is called bystander effect. The second is that the infection inside your cell causes the cell to develop a different name tag on the outside of the cell surface. So as a result, the immune system sees your own tissue as a foreign invader, and the immune system is going to do what? Can you guess? Hey Ruben, thank you for joining in. Well, the immune system is going to do what is meant to do by nature and attack it, because that's what the immune system does. If it feels it has a foreign invader or detects a foreign invader, it is going to attack it. This is what happens with someone who has lupus, and this is what someone with lupus would call a flare-up, when it's attacking the foreign invader. And sometimes those foreign invaders are not foreign, but our body sees them as a foreign invader because of what I just explained. So the immune system will continue attacking. Like I was saying before, the immune system will continue attacking your cells because the infection is still inside. This is what we call a chronic situation. An infection can persist anywhere, including your joints, brain, thyroid, heart, lungs, kidneys. Okay, depending on which autoimmune disease you have. With lupus, it can affect the whole body and many different organs. As you know, with me in the past, when I did have the issue with lupus, it affected my heart. But I was able to reverse everything, thank God, knock on wood. But it took a long time and a lot of work. It's not a walk through the park to heal from these conditions. So, like I said, the immune system will continue to attack your cells because the infection is still inside. This is what we call a chronic situation. So an infection can persist anywhere, including what I said before, the different types of organs, even in your nervous system. And the infection can persist anywhere, and it is possible for the infection to live inside your immune cells as well. The sun is kind of getting in my eyes here. I'm trying to like move from it. Thank you so much. I appreciate you being on, and I'm glad that you like the information that I am sharing, and I hope you get something out of it. And if this is something that interests you, or you know someone that this may interest, please by all means share this live chat with them. So what was I saying? Okay, so it is possible for an infection to live inside your immune cells themselves, which can cause the immune cells to lose their tolerance for your own tissue. And another way that an infection can affect autoimmune conditions is when your tissues are, when your tissues already damaged. So they're already damaged from the autoimmune disease. And then a virus is drawn to the inflammation, and it takes up residence in this tissue as a secondary problem. So as you can see, all these are issues, that would need a lot of work. But this is how certain viruses and stuff and infections affect autoimmune conditions. They could be lying there dormant for a while and can cause it to flare up. So the question is, why do some people recover from infection whereas other people don't, right? That's a good question. So there is some evidence that in certain people, bad genetics or damage from environmental toxins or exposure has made their immune system unable to get rid of chronic Hi, Chu. Thank you for joining. Of chronic infection. So this is why I get a lot of my clients, and a lot of my clients always ask me why I have them do this test, but I get a lot of my clients to take a test for heavy metals and mercury and environmental toxins in their system, because results from that test can help me to decipher if I need to approach the disease in a different way and help my clients to deal with their autoimmune condition. So as a result, the infection triggers autoimmunity either right when the person gets sick or because the infection persists. Thank you for joining in, Michael. So there is research on the association of chronic infections and autoimmune diseases, which suggests that a handicapped also, hey Flavia, thank you for joining in. There's research that suggests that also what is associated with chronic infections and autoimmune diseases is a handicapped immune system. Might be a part of the problem. And what this basically means is that the person will have trouble getting rid of infection, which in turn makes it easier for the virus to take advantage of you. Hey Sarah, what's up girl? Thank you for joining in. You may be wondering, how does the immune system become handicapped, right? I mean, if you think about it, you're like, handicapped immune system, it kind of, well, genes appear to be part of the problem. But also keep in mind that environment plays a role too. Genetics are not your destiny. Remember that. Hey, Timothy Brown, what's up? What's up, my brother? Thank you for joining in. know that genetics are not your destiny. Okay, that's a big thing to remember, because sometimes we get stuck on that. It's not your destiny. They're just simply a blueprint for what could happen. Your environment dictates how this blueprint, will be read and transcribed. This is why when dealing with an autoimmune condition, we also have to take into consideration the environment. Okay, and I've spoken about autoimmune conditions and a lot of other things, but now I'm getting into environment and environmental toxins, because this is also very important. It's part of the things I do with my clients as well. So we know that genetics are not your destiny. I already said this. So this is why when dealing with an autoimmune condition, we also have to take into consideration the environment and the environmental toxins and how that affects our body and our immune system, especially if you're suffering from an autoimmune condition. And I'm not just speaking about lupus. I'm talking about all autoimmune conditions across the board. So food and nutrients you eat, okay, that's important. The stress you experience, environmental toxins, and having a gut full of harmful microbes all affect your immune system on the deepest cellular level. We have to remember that. So if you have bad genetics, you can overcome them by influencing the function of the immune system in a positive way. And I've talked about these positive ways before, and I will make more videos in reference to environmental toxins and how to deal with that in a positive way. Because I'm limited for time right now. So what was I saying about nutrients and all that, right? So it is better to clear out the virus and the infections to lower your risk of autoimmune diseases. So how do you know if you have a handicapped immune system with genes that make you more susceptible to getting an autoimmune disease? Does anybody know? Do you want to take a guess? Anybody? Okay, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to share with you. Well, one is if you have a family history of autoimmune diseases. If you have a family member with an autoimmune disease, and I'm talking about your mom, your dad, your grandfather, grandpa, siblings, okay, like immediate family, or like a grandma and grandpa, I think I mentioned that, and your parents. So this makes it more likely that you can have one or two, so it makes it more likely that you can have your gut too. I'm speaking about the gut too, Sarah. Very good. You're listening in class, Sarah. This makes it more likely that you can have one too, like when I was diagnosed with lupus back a million years ago, because I lived a million years, right? It was actually back in 1993 I was diagnosed with lupus. I didn't know anybody in my family. Yes, absolutely. We have to be careful what we drink. And yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Also, fluoride. And I'll do a video on fluoride. I'm not going to get into it now. But if you can get the fluoride out of your water and the fluoride out of your toothpaste, it's very important. And I'm sure there's people out there that know about this. Hey, Rob, what's up, buddy? Folks, you got to get on with my friend Rob. We call him Dr. Rob. He speaks about relationships and self-love and all these really wonderful things. I shared one of his videos on my wall. You have to check him out. He really knows what he's talking about. I usually don't recommend people. So far there's only been 3 people that I have recommended on my live chats, and he's definitely someone that I recommend all you folks to get on and listen to him. He shares a wealth of information. Okay, so check out Rob, Dr. Rob. Get on his page, like his page, and listen to the information he has to share. Okay, he's full of a lot of wisdom. Anyway, what I was saying, because I got to get out of here soon. I'm pressed for time. So how do you know that you have a handicapped immune system? Well, you can check your genes. If someone in your family, your immediate family, or down the road in your family has an autoimmune disease, chances are you can be open to getting it. Doesn't mean you will get it. In my family, my grandma had rheumatoid arthritis, and that's an autoimmune disease. Oh, you're welcome, sweetheart. You're awesome too. But I didn't know this. I didn't know they were related because I didn't know. I only knew what I knew. Now I know more because I went to school, I learned, and I'm more educated, and I can pour my wisdom into all of you so you can learn as well. But this makes it more likely that you can have an autoimmune disease or be prone to one if you don't take care of yourself. Hey Mohammed, thank you for joining in. Also, an HLA test, human leukocyte antigen testing. They do that for a few diseases, is also available. There's a limited amount of genetic tests that are available that allow you to see if you have any handicaps in your immune system or in your immune cells function. This test can be very costly though, the one I just mentioned. Thank you for joining in, Marsha. What's up, girl? I haven't seen you in a while. Miss you. So like I was saying, they can be very costly, and insurance companies usually don't cover the costs. Many of them don't cover the cost for it. Hey Larry, what's up? Thank you for joining in. Which I don't understand why they don't cover the costs, but that's the way it is now, and hopefully in the near future that will change. So with lupus, there are multiple environmental triggers that can be associated with the disease, and this happens with other autoimmune diseases. But specifically to lupus, I'm going to name right now what are the multiple environmental triggers that can be associated with it. For example, ultraviolet radiation. Hey, what's up, Daniel, my man? Everybody, Daniel, he's amazing, okay? He's just, I don't even have words for Daniel, but you need to get on his page and like his page. He shares a wealth of information as well, and I am blessed to know him and to have him pour his wisdom into me. He speaks about spirituality and just get on his page, that's all, and join his live chat. His live chats are life-changing, and he's just awesome, and he's adorable, and I love him to death. Okay, anyway, back to what I was saying. Ultra radiation and high fat, low antioxidant diet, cigarette smoking, okay, this also can affect. High infection rate with viruses and bacteria, molecular mimicry, which I have spoken about before. What's up, Christine, girl? Haven't seen you in a while. Glad you're on. These are, like I was saying, molecular mimicry after infections as a possible trigger. Can also trigger that. Exposure to mercury, exposure to pesticides and the chemicals like in hair dye and stuff like that. So check your makeup. So all these things. Also high estrogen levels can also affect someone with lupus or who has the lupus genes. And these are just a few things that I'm naming. There's tons of stuff, but these are just like the basic, which I think are important for people to know. So the antibodies and lupus are not focused on a specific organ, so the inflammation and damage occurring throughout the entire body. So research has shown that you can have autoantibodies years before you show any clinical signs of lupus or an autoimmune disease. This is why it's good to go get tests if you aren't feeling well. If you catch it earlier, it's easier to heal. Remember, healing is possible. The body has its own innate ability to heal if you give it what it needs, okay? And this happened with my sister. My sister, before she was diagnosed with lupus, she kept telling me that she felt a certain way. She had fatigue, muscle pain, and weakness. Me, a red light went off, it was like, boop, something's going on. I kept telling her that she should go get a lupus test. I highly recommended it for her to get lupus testing because me dealing with the disease for so many years and the fact that I was able to heal it, I know the symptoms. I know lupus like the back of my hand. Okay. So I recommended her to go get testing. So nothing came out positive. It showed she didn't have the disease, but I knew she had the disease. I knew that it was laying dormant in her system. So I kept pressing, go for another test, go for another test. Well, several years passed. Several years later, she was diagnosed with lupus because it finally surfaced in her. And now I'm helping her, okay, because it's what I do. I help people who have lupus and autoimmune diseases, and she's feeling much better. Thank God, knock on wood, okay? So what are the specific symptoms you should look for? Well, one is fatigue, muscle pain, weakness, fever. This usually happens when the disease is active or is about to become active. If you have organ involvement, you're going to feel certain things. Like if it's the heart, you may get chest pains or pain in the back. When my heart started getting involved, I was getting pains in the back, not on my chest, believe it or not. And then later on, the pain in the chest happened. But also joint pain, muscle pain, difficulty breathing, and that can be part of pleurisy. Do you realize we have the same beauty mark on the same side too? Yeah, you know what? I didn't know that, Christine. Yes, we are. We're beauty mark sisters. Look at that. I thought we were just soul sisters, but we're beauty mark sisters. Look at that right here. Okay. Where was I? The butterfly rash, the hair loss, not baldness, but hair loss you can get with lupus. It happened to me. Oral nasal ulcers that are not painful. Also, the color of your fingers when exposed to the cold. And this is called Raynaud's syndrome. Okay? But you can get Raynaud's syndrome and not have lupus. My sister's laughing over there at me. Anyway, this is all I have to share with you guys today. If you find this information helpful, please share it with other people who may gain wisdom from it and learn from it. And you can find me on social media, on my coaching page here on Facebook, which is Yvette LeBoy Coach. I'm also on Instagram, One Holistic Diva. On Twitter, I am Holistic Gal. I have my own YouTube page, which is Yvette LeBoy. And if you're in the New York City area, come and visit me at the Project Life Center, which is located at 3802 61st Street in Woodside, Queens. I teach there every Wednesday night from 7 to 8 p.m. And basically that's it, folks. Thank you for tuning in. Much love and peace. Have a great holiday. Mwah. Love you all. Thank you for joining in. Thank you, Tia. Thank you all. God bless. And I'll see you on my next live chat, which I'm hoping I can do next week. Sorry I haven't been on that much. I've been really busy trying to get myself out there in a big way. I'm writing a book. I'm writing a lupus group program. So needless to say, I've been busy, and I just came back from vacation. I was in Cuba. You all know I made a video about that. Anyway, that's all I have to share today, folks. Mwah. Happy Labor Day. God bless, and I will speak to you all soon. Take care. Bye.